All right, what's up, guys? I want to do some instant trade analysis. Maybe not instant, but day of. So Raptors made a few trades. A few people messaged me asking me what I think about it. I mean, I don't love it. It's not great, but the thing I was saying earlier is the Raptors, it seems like they're paying for their previous mistakes that they've made by holding on to their assets for too long, which has been well documented on this show with OG and Pascal. Not really getting the returns we thought that they might get, although they were decent trades. Definitely could have got more if they had acted earlier, right? Raptors had waited to get into the play-in last year, really fought to get in, and for what? To get some more money with ticket sales in that game and to get embarrassed on their home floor. We're really, as Raptors fans and the franchise, really paying those Roosters are coming home to roost. So looking at this trade here, Kelly Olynyk, Ochai Agbaji come in for Kyra Lewis and a first-round pick. When I first saw the trade, I thought that the Raptors got a first-round pick in this deal, and I loved it, right? And obviously a Bruce Brown going there as well. I get it. This is going to be like a 27th, 29th, 30th overall pick. And you're getting a backup center now that Thad's gone. Like, I mean, Kelly Olynyk's been passed around more than anybody of recent memory. He's still a capable 7-footer, big body. I mean, he's definitely not a great defender, but just his size alone. I mean, the guy's an absolute monster. He's going to grab some rebounds for you, and he can shoot the three and space the floor for you, which I guess they're looking for. I don't know what his long-term, his or the franchise's terms, long-term plans for him will be going forward. But I mean, you get a guy that can actually play, right? You don't have Thad, who I love Thad, but he's an undersized. He's not even a center. They're just throwing him at center, right? He's a small forward, power forward, playing center. Now, with the Kansas guy, we get an Ochai there. He was a lottery pick from 2 years ago. I'm pretty sure he won the MVP at the Final Four, won a championship there with the Kansas Jayhawks. He reminds me a little bit, and I do say a little bit, of DeMar DeRozan when we first drafted him. I'll tell you why. I mean, the guy can jump out of the gym. He's like 6'5", 6'6", shooting the ball. I think I said he was about 33, 34% from three. He's not really getting steady minutes because Utah just has so many players there at that position. But I mean, this is a guy that at least you can take a flyer on and you have him under contract for a few years. You'll have his restricted rights to sign him as well. I don't hate the pick. I mean, turning Bruce Brown into someone like that, where again, I've heard people say, this is something else I want to talk about. The amount of times I've heard people tell me this is a weak draft class. I mean, when did everybody become talent evaluators? Honestly, I'd love to know. The amount of times I've even heard people tell me how good X player is on the Raptors or any other team. Precious Achiuwa, who's grabbed some rebounds when he's played with the Knicks because they told him, just run, don't think, just grab rebounds and do alley-oops. He's at his best there. This draft class, like any other draft class, is going to produce 30 NBA players in the first round. Does any draft class hit everything? No. I mean, when you're taking players like Malachi Flynn, over other players. I always draw a blank on his name, but the Grizzlies took him right after our pick there. Desmond Bane. At the end of the day, you have to be able to draft. It doesn't matter if you're taking the first overall pick, the 5th, the 15th, or the 30th. You have to do your homework on these picks. Usually when people say this is a strong or weak draft class, it's really dependent on, let's say, like the first 5 guys. Are you getting a generational player in this draft? Is this going to be a number 1 pick that is going to be a 10-time All-Star? Even going into last draft, I mean, with the top 3 picks there, people didn't know if Chet was going to go first, Jabari Smith was going to go first, or Paulo. And Paulo ends up going first. He's been great. Chet went second and 2 years ago, and he's been really solid as well. But I'm tired of everybody being a couch GM and kind of, assessing these trades and assessing these players really on the fly when you have to let things play out. Again, I don't love the return the Raptors got, but at least this is something we can work with. I haven't loved any of the trades, Bobby Webster or Masai's overseeing him, what they've been doing. We've talked about it before on this show where the team has been trying to prioritize winning for whatever reason, because winning is actually going out winning, competing for a championship, in my opinion. The whole reason you play these games in any level of professional sports is to win a championship. If you're not winning a championship or you're not striving, you're not a legitimate contender, what are you doing? That was the beef that I had with this team trying to get into the play-in this whole time. I was just wondering, what are you doing? So you go in, let's say you beat the Bulls, you play Miami in the next round. You're not even if you get past Miami, who ended up going to the finals. Like, where can you evaluate the game? I mean, do you think that this team has a chance to go somewhere? Is winning one round enough where you can look at your fans and say, hey, we pocketed some money, which they're never going to tell you, but we're making some progress with our young guys. All the guys that they've gotten in these trades here, the guys from the Knicks and everybody else. And even Olynyk and Agbaji there. These guys all have playoff experience. So I mean, the fans need to be smarter. The team needs to do better with their trades because all this noise that they're making with these last second panic moves there, like I said, you could always do worse, you could always do better. And when you're at midnight trying to get in your exam when you should have done it the week before, or make these trades, years before, you're kind of handcuffing yourself. And as a team, and I'm quickly going to talk about this other trade they made, bringing in Dinwiddie and then getting rid of him. Every move you make is, I mean, the league's watching, the fans are watching, they're seeing what you're doing. So the Raptors bring in Dinwiddie, right? And I do say bring in because they trade Schroeder, a guy who they brought in on a 2-year deal. They paid him probably the most he was going to get from any team. I want to say it was around $30 million for 2 years, give or take, maybe a little bit less. He has a decent season. I know Raptors fans haven't loved him, but he's still one of the quicker point guards in the league and is a pretty good sixth man that can spot start for you. They move him and Thad Young, an expiring deal, for Spencer Dinwiddie. Raptors are losing 2 roster spots here in Schroeder and Thad Young. You bring in Dinwiddie, he's waived later, and then we find out after that he's waived because the Raptors don't want to pay him $1.5 million for a bonus. That's embarrassing as an NBA franchise. That news is being leaked and that you're unwilling to give an NBA rotation player and a starter $1.5 million because he might, or he will more than likely play in a minimum games played bonus. These are not moves that you want to do. These are not moves you want anybody to see. But I mean, the Raptors, I don't even want to call it dirty laundry. The facts are the facts. Nothing's looking good here. I mean, they're clearly desperately trying to hold on to this pick here that they have that's top 6 protected to draft someone. Next year, Cooper Flagg is supposed to be, I don't know if I want to call him like a generational player, but he's up there with one of the best top prospects we've seen in a long time in this draft. If the Raptors keep their pick this year, next year will be going to Utah. Not Utah, my mistake. The Spurs in that trade that they did with Pirtle. Another terrible trade, which again, the team is paying for. You go out, you get a guy that has 3 months left on his deal. It's a panic move because they need to get into the playoffs and have a body at center because they didn't address it for 3+ years since we lost Marc Gasol. You give up a first-round pick that's only top 6 protected. And I mean, there's move after move here that we can go around with. I want to make this really quick, but I mean, at some point, you have to question management with this team and the decisions they're making because, I mean, what great move have they made since getting Marc Gasol to trade deadline, right? Nothing that comes to mind off the top of my head. There's probably been one move that they made out of like 6 that has been okay, but I mean, there's going to be some questions after this deadline. As a season seat holder and all the fans, whatever it is, this is not a product anybody is happy to watch anymore. Now, Scottie's production has dipped. Since there's been, some roster turnover and stuff, I'm not worried about him. The guy's named an all-star. Future's great for him. You just even have to wonder with him, right, as a potential all-NBA player down the road, and he's going to get paid whatever the most he will get paid. They're not gonna leave any money on the table with him. What message are you sending him with these moves that you're making now? And I'll leave that with you guys, and I'll chat with you guys later. Take care.